Hey there, everybody. This is Rob Decker with Brian Jesperson tonight as a special guest, and we are going to be here for the Rug Lounge. Brian, tell everybody howdy.
How you doing, everybody?
It's good to have you here, brother. Really, I absolutely love your mind, the way you think, and you have a lot of experience with centrifuge, and I don't. And so that's going to be a really really good thing. So let's get right into this. This came straight from Trunk Mountain forums. I'm all over the net and Facebook groups looking for stuff and talking about stuff. You just I belong to so many groups, it's ridiculous. So Justin Adams put this in. Any advice on how to get a bowl of chili out of a jute rug, or is it toast? So let's examine this for a minute. Let's look at the floor that it's on. So first and foremost, let's not attempt anything on this floor. If you, I mean, in in the wildest thing you would ever do, if you were going to attempt it, you would need to put garbage bags underneath so that you don't get any moisture on that floor, because that does not look like an engineered that looks like it could be wood. It could be, hell, it could be tile. They make all kinds of
Oh,
stuff look like everything, so you never know. But the one rule that we all know about jute, about dried fabric, is evenly wet and evenly dry. And you're not going to be able to do that in this situation. So, first and foremost, it's got to come out of the house. And that's just it. It has to come out of the house. And then, not only that, but you're going to have to do things to it in steps. We're going to wash it, dust it and wash it first. Then what remains we will begin to deal with in certain ways, and jute is one of those fibers, Brian, that just will, if you get that uneven, you're haloing, man, and that's bad.
yeah, yeah. I 100% agree with you when you say that you have to take it out of the house because even if we sell Rug Pad Wizard, the moisture barrier rug pad, and if you have a piece of that, you possibly could put that under there instead of using trash bags. But I mean, when you talk about jute, I mean, you kind of talking about a different animal.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, wet cleaning it to me seems to be the best. Uh, I mean, I typically wash the jute rugs with LST. Uh, Something like this, I might actually go the rayon rug shampoo way, uh,
Yeah.
just to see where I'm at afterwards. Because there could be curry inside there. There's obviously chili powder. You don't know what somebody may have added to the chili. So
Yep.
you have a lot of different directions that you might have to go. But wet washing this to me would be the best. And if people do have like a Cymex, I don't try to ever use like a Cymex on jute necessarily.
Yeah, not like this. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? This is a flat weave almost kind of deal.
yeah, because you get those in the wash pit, and then a lot of those a lot of those pieces might break. They might get a
Yeah,
little brittle.
that's
Uh,
right.
you're going to have to wash that, with a brush, a hand brush. Man, Paul made these awesome stainless steel handles, and he has so many different brushes. I uh, I have so many different brushes, but those handles, I was sitting here looking at them today. I was sitting here washing. I was like, gosh, man,
That
that's
one, yeah. That one and that
gosh,
one,
I
yeah.
love those things, and I've had those for so long, and anybody who's washing rugs, especially if they're having to scrub, uh, if you've ever had one of your handles break, man, that's not fun. Or if you're using one that has aluminum, and I've done that before a long time ago, I was sitting here
Then do
brushing, and the aluminum, the rust went right across it. Don't
it.
don't make your life even worse. I mean, if you're still able to get like the stainless steel poles, what an upgrade!
Yeah.
What an upgrade! Plus, on
Yeah.
top of it, uh, people see it, and you just look so much more professional, you know. And they just, I mean, they're the last. They're awesome. Um, so for me, I personally would take this rug, and I would wash it underwater,
Yeah.
flush it out, and I
Yeah.
would see how this came out, um, and then I would go ahead and put in this my centrifuge and lightly spin this rug out and lay them out. I personally like to use dry tables instead of using a lot of
Yeah.
dry towers,
Yeah.
especially on something like this, because you're putting a lot of stress on this rug. I try to eliminate as much stress as humanly possible. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I have dry tower option, and but I love the dry tables. I have I have a lot of square foot of dry tables. I think I have
Yeah.
about 1,000 square foot of dry tables. Uh,
Right.
but just just being careful with it, and just working working slow.
Yes.
Testing things, seeing how things are.
Yeah. And
So,
evenness, that the key to this fiber is do what you do evenly. So let's say we wash this thing and a good portion of this comes out, but there is still some things that are hanging on there. And you got to remember that you have introduced a liquid to a dried fiber. And so that's the first in, if you will. Okay, so the first in was tomatoes and cumin and all of these kind of spices and rubs and stuff and chili seasoning. So um you're probably going to have to wind up going to either to redox, either a peroxide or a stripper, and it just is what you do to this rug you need to do evenly. So if you're going to test peroxide, you can test it with a couple of q-tips and be done with it. But if once you decide, yes, peroxide is going to do me some good, you want to wet out the entire rug and then go back in a little heavier on the spots where you need it. But uniformity is your friend on these, and drying them um, flat is also a very, very good idea. And Brian's got the square footage for that. I've got the square footage for that. So
you
I've
know
got a
what's
lot of sun
you know
space, all that.
what's interesting is I wish, gosh, I miss Paul so much. I mean, I would love to be able to say to him, "Hey, what do you think about, like, if I washed this with rayon rug shampoo and I didn't get the result I kind of wanted?" Because rayon rug shampoos, I think it's about a pH of like 8, so it's
Right.
pretty neutral. Um, if I don't get the result I have, what about using a little bit of problem reducing rug shampoo?
That's what was
That's
on my mind.
that's my next step, I think.
Yeah.
Because you're correct when you say you're trying to make it uniform. Because when
Yeah.
you don't make it uniform, that's when you just start splotching it here and there.
Yeah.
Things go south in a hurry.
Big
So,
time.
and Jude's a little bit unforgiving. So, yeah.
And hope they don't have a I've heard Paul talk about a sister rug, where one was in
Hmm.
the sun and one wasn't, and now they're they don't look like sisters anymore, they look like distant cousins. And that, so you got to be careful about that. If they bought three of these, this was a set of rugs and you take this one out, and you have to do what you have to do to get this out, but you lighten it overall and you
Yeah.
bring it back in the house, you can have trouble. So you always, look, investigate, ask questions. Paul probably asked more questions. He answered you guys questions all the time, and it was because they were pertinent. It takes you down a certain path when you know the answer to certain questions. So that's what. But
Well, I
yeah,
mean, how many times have you been inside somebody's house and they don't just normally have always one jute rug? And sometimes
exactly.
they might have like a smaller one. They might have the sister rugs the same size. This could be a little bit of a dining room, and then they could have like a little bit of a hearth room that's attached.
Yep.
Uh,
And I've even seen these in the kitchen,
yeah,
dried fiber. And I like immediately, I just, hey, I don't care if I'm there to clean upholstery or protect under carpet, whatever. I see something like that, I stop them and I'm like, you need to understand that you have put a dried fabric in a wet area. That's a really bad combination.
yeah,
You need to be thinking about that, and I see so many people, they like the look of it, or the designer did it, or whatever.
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but the designer didn't do a very good job thinking about what this fiber is going to do. you know
Well,
so
that's why if you see someone with jute, honestly, a protectant is crucial.
very
I
much
mean,
so.
try to get in front of the interior designer and let them understand that. Try to get the clients. We have some clients that have wall to wall jute carpets.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
what in the world? I mean, you know, and you don't want to buy somebody's problem. So if they do have a sister rug, you explain to them, hey, listen, I can do what I need to try to do for this.
Right.
It might alter the look just a pinch or a little bit more, or even
Yeah.
this other rug. But you can go buy another rug if you want. Just don't make that problem your problem.
Right.
Always,
Right.
always, always keep the level of expectation lower and overachieve. I mean, that's what Nate used to always teach me on that side.
Yeah. And Paul too. I remember Paul talking all the time about that. Just asking a lot of questions, making sure that you know what's going on. You know, it's important.
Yep.
And under promising, over deliver. You and it's something that the same words you can say to someone before you touch their property, and that's called education, but the very same words you say after you've touched their property is an excuse.
Darn
And so
right.
you always want to do that
Uh,
beforehand. And actually, Brian, I got to get with you. That text message I sent you today,
yeah.
I'm going to do a protector program, like the warranty thing.
Yeah.
And I want to know, like, you've got to have a sheet of, well, we won't clean the whole room, we just, this and all that kind of stuff, and all I want to get that from you. So
Okay.
but okay, so we'll move on here. That actually, the rest of all of the posts tonight were Nate's, because I mean, I didn't know if he's going to be able to be here or not, with everything going on, but this one we can talk about because we know exactly what the son does. He says he's maximizing his sun time. He's getting us out there. He's putting it up. The part, I'm sure the fringe is what he was doing here. Is just to get that fringe just that much better. When you use Chemex fringe cleaner, has a
Yep.
little bit of reduction in it, right? So you detail your fringe with that, and then you let that air dry, or blow dry even out in the sun. That accelerates a UV light, accelerates a reduction. So it will, and so does heat, and so it will continue that work that you've started on those fringe. Brian, I know you're obsessed with fringe.
Oh yeah. The one thing I have to say is that, you know, I think especially if you're kind of new, you can leave it outside, but don't leave it outside for a whole long time. At
Right.
least that's my experience. I
Yeah.
mean, it's better even if you got 30 minutes of sunlight. 30 minutes of sunlight does wonders. You can bring it inside and then allow it to dry, and man, it's amazing what the sun is able to do for the fringes. A lot of people will sit there and say, "Man, did you bleach your fringes?" Nope,
Yeah.
nope. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
No, I
what's your
just know what
secret?
I'm doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's your secret? What in the world are you doing? And a lot of it really is the sunlight. You know,
Yep.
allowing
A
that.
lot of times I will actually point up. I'll just be like, that's my secret right there.
Yeah, yeah. Give it just give it a little bit of time. You know, we're here in Kansas, so it gets pretty windy. So you do
Yeah.
got to be kind of careful too. Otherwise,
Right.
you'll have flying carpets going all over.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
some good seam weights, kind of help out a little bit.
Yeah.
But giving it a good 30 minutes, maybe even an hour of sunlight,
Hmm.
it helps out a lot.
It
So
really does. It finishes off that reaction. You know what I mean? It's a chemistry thing. The sun is a mild oxidizer, is what it is. And so it helps to get everything going. It's beautiful. And I actually got a 5-star review from a lady. I never walked in her house, but she sent me a picture. She talked to me, and I said, "Send me a picture of this." It was a bench with a white covering, and it just had little brown spots, and mostly watermarks is what it was. It wasn't a whole lot. It was just little spills and stuff. And I told her, I said, listen, the first thing I want you to do before I ever come over, I want you to take this thing out in your driveway and make sure it gets full sun. And I want you to spray with a water bottle and just wet out that fabric and then let it dry in the sun. And I said, let's see what that, because, and she was like, what do you think that's going to do? I said, just trust me. And she called me back and she sent me a picture of it. It was completely just white again. And she said, I only did this once. She said, how do you know this? I was like, I do it every day. Of course and she was like, and she went on and gave me a 5-star review. Like, he didn't even have to come over. He just blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are good things. You know what I mean? Knowledge is power. We just lost an awful lot of knowledge, but we have archives and things like that, Paul. So there's a lot of material available that he talked about. I was with him every single week for 20 years. So, and I recorded it all.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I know, right? It's
So that's a lot.
Yeah. Now I talk about this quite a bit. Your phone camera behind the scenes sort of is adjusting and making sure that you get a good picture and all of that. But on rugs it can be a real problem. And so Nate's talking about our phone cameras on auto are always behind the scenes, fixing, straightening, correcting. This rug was not moved to take these 2 feet of photos, and you can see it's a slight difference, but there's a definite difference here in the way these look. So to document rugs out of square, you want to use a T-square or a broom handle at a pinch to document the extent of the problem. So this is something straight, and this rug just does not line up with it, right? When shooting dye migration, place a bright white object like a sheet of copy paper to white balance the shot. Bleed will show up much better in photos next to stark white. And one of the things that I do, and I know you do too, Brian, is you want to photograph before and after in the same lighting conditions. That's
Absolutely.
important. You don't have your garage door up and you take a before picture and then all of that. You know what I mean? You want absolutely the same conditions.
Yeah. We have we have an inspection room.
Yeah.
And our lighting inside there is at 96K. And it's pretty darn bright.
Yeah.
We like to take before and after pictures inside the actual inspection room. So yes, that way we can see, what's going on, because you can take a picture here and take a picture of the different lighting and you're going to get something completely different.
Oh yeah.
Even when you bring it inside somebody's house, like in the inspection room, I'm sitting here looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I see this. And I bring it over to somebody's house and you can't see it at all.
Right. Right. And vice versa. You get in somebody's house and all of a sudden you're like, what is that?
Yeah. But paying attention to rugs like out of square, we just did a wool and viscose rug. I think it was probably 80% viscose and 20% wool.
Mm.
And the dog peed all over it. It was terrible, but it was literally out of square when we got it. I mean, it was just pulled over so cattywampus over to from one end over to the other. It was about 6 inches off. And I was like, man, that's crazy. But we ended up, re-squaring the rug up during the drying process and brought it back to where it needs to be. One thing I noticed is that cotton inside the rug is mostly not pre-shrunk. So whenever you're using like a truck mount, and you get these ripples, especially like in nylon rugs, right? Where they got these not, they're like, what's going on? That cotton, when it's dried, it starts to come and it just starts shrinking, and you're getting these ripples all over. And so even inside these wool rugs and these viscose rugs, there might be some cotton inside there. Well, obviously inside the viscose, but they're kind of like a sheetrock in a water damage situation. The sheetrock, when it's wet, it's pliable. You can stick your finger right through it, right? And it hardens up and it holds that shape. So the best time to reshape a rug and make sure everything's squared up is when it's comes right out of that centrifuge and it's wet. And then during the drying process, making sure that you re-square everything up, and that goes the same way for tufted rugs. tufted rugs are the same exact thing. The tufted rug is pliable when it is wet and
Hmm.
it's drying, and then during that process, you're making sure that you are keeping the memory of that rug. So, a lot of times, we use dry tables. We'll give
Yeah.
it an hour, maybe 2 hours of drying where it's floating the rug, and then we'll go ahead and turn the fans
Hands
off,
off. Yeah.
and then we'll bring it down. We'll square it back up, stretch it back out, making sure everything's perfect, and then do top down drying. And then
Yeah.
in the morning when we come in, we might need to have maybe one more hour of just some airflow going underneath, and everything comes out absolutely perfect. But
And
a lot of times I see where it's maybe somebody else tried to clean something and the up
mm,
to rugs they come in and they're out of square,
yeah.
you know. It's kind of crazy, like how many people have this issue and then they don't even know.
Understand it. Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
understand it.
but
You
we
know
can take
what the
care of that.
problem is.
We can take care of that while that's there. But explaining to somebody uh, what's going on and how you can help fix that just makes you look like so much better of a person than a person
I
an excuse, right?
Yeah,
An
I had that
excuse.
conversation today with one of my clients. I went over to her place to do a blacklight inspection. I did that inspection, figured out there was quite a bit of urine there, and then there were some big old brown looking stains in the living room. And I sent pictures before and after of me using my spotter. And she said, will those spots come back? And I said, most likely not, because I did this in a pretty low moisture fashion. And she said, I cleaned that whole room and every one of those stains were gone. And then they came back. And so I got to explain to her a little bit. I said, okay, so what you've done is you have put too much water in the
Yeah.
situation. And so when water gets down and joins offensive material underneath, it's going to bring it up like passengers in a car, is the way I look at it. So the car, the vehicle is water, and the passengers are the soil. Well, the vehicle drives them all the way up to the top of the fiber, and then the vehicle disappears, and you've got these little dirt particles there that are, whatever it is, wicking stain is what it is, and you can get that down. But if you get that really, really wet, trying to get that out, it's going to come back again. And we see this in rugs, we see this in wall to wall all the time, don't you, Brian?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny you say that because I had somebody call today and they said they had the carpet cleaned and they wanted to know what was going on. Uh, some of it was a little bit of traffic areas, but also
Mhm.
by a trained eye, you can also see that somebody really put a little bit too much moisture in those areas. And you can see a little bit of that wicking. You can see a little bit of that wood grain from the actual subfloor trying to wick up. And she's like, well, maybe I can take my little machine and try to get it really wet. I said, whatever you do, the least amount of water as possible. You might even be able to take a white towel and just dampen it and then go ahead
Right.
and just wipe it. And if it kind of looks a little rusty anyway, it'll probably just come right off.
Yeah.
Because the way Paul used to describe it to me was that moisture becomes the highway for travel. So if
Yep.
there's anything that's in the back of the rug, anything that's in the back of the
Woven
rug, the
yarns.
point
Yeah.
of
The foundation.
evaporation, is the top of the rug, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and then everything will wick to that point. It can't go anywhere except for now travel sideways. That's the reason why
Yep.
you see spots that are round because they come up and they have to have to travel out somewhere else. So they
Yep.
start going sideways. And a lot of that is really easily taken care of where everybody's kind of freaked out about it. I mean, you see that sometimes on tufted rugs, they put way too much moisture sometimes on
Yeah.
certain areas with with maybe with a chemical. And you might actually have a little bit of actually the glue itself. If you feel it, feels kind of just a little tacky sometimes.
Yep.
I've seen that many times on rugs. Uh, and it's bringing a little bit of that glue to the top as well. And so then you have to go across there to maybe just a little bit of citrusol and just kind of wring it and just wipe it off of there, and
Mhm.
everything's in good shape.
Absolutely. Wicking is a really easy thing to deal with typically, and it's pretty easy to diagnose. In a rug, you just grin it. In a wall to wall, you just want to if you've got a row, find a row, and then bend that back and look at the tip of that fiber and at the base of that fiber. And if those two don't match very well, then that's what you've got. It's pretty easy to diagnose.
Yeah. Well, it really is pretty easy situation, but most people just don't they just overthink it because they don't
Yeah,
understand the point of evaporation. They don't understand. I mean,
exactly.
that's why a lot of people were saying, well, hey, you should dry your rugs upside down in the sun. So you're bringing everything to the back of the rug. The only part about that I hate is whenever you're drying upside down, is that, I mean, I would say, gosh, at least 20% of actual rug cleaning is grooming after
Yeah.
cleaning, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if you groom it properly, if there's silk, if there's viscose, whatever it may be, I mean, you're getting it as perfect as possible. And then when it dries, it just holds that and it
Yeah.
looks so incredible.
Yeah.
A good grooming process is just it takes the regular rug cleaner over here to a person that's like a rug cleaner who's just like an expert over here. I
Supreme.
mean,
That's right.
unroll the rug and the rug. People sometimes say, "Wow, the rug looks better than it did from the store." Well, I mean, there's nothing like coming from straight from the wash pit and
That's
being
true.
groomed correctly, and everything's nice and soft and so vivid in color. But you are sitting there, you're also making sure that you're actually grooming this where the light is reflecting off there, and it just looks so enhanced.
Yeah, it's excellent. I just actually took my rug to my shop, the one that I washed down at your facility, that Tabriz. I took it in and did a dry cleaning, like good dusting, and then floor solve clean on it. And man, I put that back in here, and it's popping. You know what I mean? It's in my living room, and it's just like I can't take my eyes off the rug. It's
That's awesome.
amazing. And it's getting, what I tell people is I help you fall back in love with the rug because I get the soil out of the way, and the rug is down there. The rug you bought is underneath there. I just have to be the guy to get the soil out of the way so that you can see it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, these were just the high shots there. Oh, that was using T square. So
Yep.
yeah, that's and that's important to show. I mean, if you don't have a picture of this before you touch it, you caused it. There's no that's it. There is no halfway. If you can't prove it was like that before you touched it, you caused it.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep. That's one of the great
Okay.
advantages of actually having a dry table, especially if you
Yeah.
got one that's larger than just like an
Normal, right? Yeah, yeah. You've
the,
got big
the,
dry
the 8 by
tables.
8 or whatever. I mean, you actually have the pieces of wood on there, and you can square everything up perfect. You know,
Yep.
you can really see everything and making sure it's great. Because man, there's nothing worse than bringing a rug back and somebody didn't get it squared, and you bring it back and they're like, "What's wrong with my rug?"
Right.
I had that
It's like a
from one of my guys, and this guy, I could just kill this guy. I can't believe it. He said there, he took the whole entire back off the rug, redid the whole rug, put it all back, did a great job, but didn't even square it off.
uh
I was like, are you kidding me? You see this? I mean, you
yeah,
basically toast the rug. I mean,
yeah.
this is like a crucial part of what you're doing. Well, I didn't know. Are you kidding? I mean,
How
that
many times
honestly,
have you told him? Yeah.
that's honestly tell you the truth, and that was a long time ago. But that was the moment we started really doing, the quality assurance step, the QA step.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's the inspection, there's the dusting, there's the pre-wash, the wash, the detailing, and now
Staying
you
rolling.
got the QA,
Yeah.
making sure somebody else is also looking at it and signing off, saying absolutely, especially the people who are going to deliver the rug.
Yeah.
You don't want to get you don't want to get burned. And
No.
also, if you roll a rug up, place it on the shelf, let's say it's there for a week. They may go out of town, they might be getting something remodeled. I always make sure, hey, listen, unroll the rug.
Yeah.
Let's take another look at it before it goes anywhere. Don't just say, oh, hey, but it looked great a week ago. You don't know. One with a little
So,
bug crawled up inside there, right? Like a little. I mean, who knows? You never know
yeah.
about
Or
absolutely.
you get pile reversal when you roll it. Also, if the floor, like say you just lay a rug down, you vacuum it and you roll it. Well, if you didn't make sure that the floor underneath was really clean, you're
Yeah,
going to be taking things from the back and rolling it onto the surface. So there's
absolutely.
a lot of considerations whenever you do that. And so, yeah, you have to look at it again. You can't just have it up on the shelf and they call, hey, I'm ready now. Okay, I'll bring it tomorrow. You have got to have that time to make sure of your results because they sure are. I mean, people don't look at a rug um, harder when they buy it than when they have it cleaned. You
Yeah,
know, they are really looking at it then. And I use that time to show them and point out things that they may never see. Like that one rug I did just not too long ago. It had the a whole border, actually two borders of these little hash marks. It almost looks like you do the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 kind of thing, but they were little hash marks and a line in the middle of them. And I helped him notice because one of my guys noticed it and showed me. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that. There sometimes were three little marks, sometimes there were four little marks.
mm,
And they it wasn't in a pattern. It was just there was three over here, four up here, back, and it was
mm.
just random. And I thought, how cool is that, man? I mean, you just don't, you know, and then the other day, I think I've got a picture of this one. I know I do somewhere. I actually had a rug that was not symmetrical. It was a true Moroccan, but it was not symmetrical either halfways or the other way, neither way. And it was crazy. Like you just don't see that very often. You know what I mean? They're almost always symmetrical
Yeah.
with a central medallion and or just a central field or something. But yeah, they're just some neat stuff. So well, let's get to this one real quick. I'm gonna put my glasses on. Teresa Webb, this is off the carpet professor's page, a synthetic rug showing yellowish tinges in places post steam cleaning. Tried end capping today, and client says she still sees it very faint, but it's still there. Can anyone offer suggestions what to try next? So I'm going to take this real quick and say that you need to look at lighting conditions because that could be some UV damage there. I would have wanted to see some pre-inspection pictures, but the end cap thing. If you did do a truck mount on it and the floor didn't, the floor's fine. um I think maybe you just didn't remove everything is one thing, or there are wicking materials that are in the backing that are coming up that you're not noticing because you're not taking the rug out of the house. And so, maybe post peroxide, I would test it to be sure. But yeah, this I mean, Brian, this rug doesn't look even. This looks like wear too, doesn't it? Traffic way.
Well, it could possibly be wear, but think about it. I mean, if you're doing it inside someone's house, you can't really dust it properly. Whether you're
No.
using air dusting and whether you're using a rug badger, you can't do that. So back to the point of of the wicking, right? Let's
Mhm.
say those areas right through there. I mean, you vacuumed it. You did the best you could. I hope you vacuumed it.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, whenever this gets damp, you're gonna pull something up because moisture is the highway for travel, and it's
Yeah.
going to travel right to the top. The point of evaporation is going to work out. So sometimes these areas on here, I see this on viscose rugs a lot. Who knows? This could be a tufted rug as well. On a tufted rug, uh, you never know. I mean, it says synthetic, but you never know. It could be a little bit of the glue that's kind of pulling up. I mean, that's why cleaning rugs inside somebody's house is a little bit more challenging. On top of that, I mean, it looks like it's a wood surface floor. Hopefully, they didn't get it
Yeah.
too damp. And a little bit of
Right.
that also isn't a little bit of like wood grain that's trying to pop up.
Yeah.
But yes, you can go a couple different routes. You can 100% do the hydrogen peroxide. But I mean, for me, it's just a lesson learned for somebody. Hey, take it out of the house. That's why
Yeah.
we also say give it 7 to 10 days for to bring it back. Some people say 14 days
Right.
because because now you're not really able to check things. Uh, I mean, before I had a centrifuge, you know, there were times where I just didn't get dried fast enough. I just didn't, and I would get areas like this. You
Yep.
know, it was pulling things, and it could be dirt. It really could be dirt. I mean,
Yes, it could.
how many times did Paul tell me that? They're like,
Yeah. So you just didn't get it clean, brother. That's what happened. Yeah.
exactly. And I was like, what in the world are you talking about? I got this darn thing clean. Are you kidding me? But sometimes, especially if you're doing it actually in the house, you're just not getting enough of that dirt out of there.
Yeah.
And you're cleaning it. All you're doing is surface cleaning.
And the backing,
And
the backing
and you
is,
could and you could be on that floor. You're not wanting to get it that wet. So you're just getting it wet just enough. And then everything else, especially on some of those synthetic rugs, they can be a little more challenging, I think, than a hand iron rug
well, of
because
course.
they're
Yeah.
so tightly woven that the dirt just sets in there.
Yeah.
It just sets inside there so tight, and then you introduce that water, and then now it's pulling to the top. But
Yep.
I mean, a quick test on that is just taking a white towel,
Yep.
damping it out, wiping that off, and seeing if you're getting transfer. Are you getting
Yep.
transfer on your towel? I mean, you can start looking down different avenues of what's kind
Right.
of going on. Take a look underneath the rug. Make sure that
And
the floor's not damaged.
another thing that I talk about when I do blacklight inspections, sometimes female dogs and olefin carpet,
Mm,
right? So if you get a female dog that squats and relieves herself, you will see a spot this less than the size of a dime, but it will read moisture for several inches away from that because the fiber doesn't soak up anything. The water goes straight past the olefin and goes somewhere where that wants water because olefin will float on water. It doesn't want water at all. And so that's one of the things I get to tell people about. I'm like, look, you've got synthetic carpet that's very, very plastic, and you've got a pet that's urinating sitting in one place and forcing it straight down through, you know. And so I see that a lot too. So yeah, I would be worried about the backing, but in all reality, to quote Paul Lucas, I don't think you got it clean enough. I think it needs to go to your shop and you dust it properly and rug sucker it possibly. Is one of the things that I would consider doing on this thing for sure. Brian, I know that'd be on your
yeah,
list.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's the only thing you have to do, yeah, a good rug sucker would be good. I mean,
absolutely.
especially if you can like roll it up on the rug sucker, and then you can actually, yeah, you got a little tool where you can actually, like a little shower, and you're going
Hmm.
across, and you keep just letting some water actually pass through the rug, pulling everything through the rug. That's something that would be a great idea. Now, if you have a
You,
centrifuge, of course, personally for me, I mean, you really see it if you're using like a weighted roller and
mhm.
and some extra water. You got water kind of going across. You got weighted roller. You can actually physically see what's coming out of the rug. Then you see what you're kind of working with. Let's say you don't even see that. I mean, it might be a little bit of wear, but I mean, you got to take those pictures before and after.
Yeah.
You got to because it's also for your peace of mind. Hey, was that really
Yes.
there before?
Right.
Take those pictures, even if you're going to do it in the house. Take a picture. I don't even care if you even clean the sofa. Same way, chair. Take pre-inspection pictures,
Yep.
and that way you can always have something to fall back upon to see what's kind of going on because we don't really know. But I'm assuming when I look at this, it probably is still dirty. Honestly,
Hmm.
it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Um, let's see. Well, that's the end of that. I want to for the rest of the show, we're just gonna pay a little tribute to Paul. He he was a friend a good friend of me for over 20 years. The we liked each other the first time we met, and we had I like chemistry, he liked chemistry, so we got to talk about that a lot. But if there was one thing, Paul was a problem solver. um he could look at something, feel something, and he'd have an explanation going in his head of what happened, and he'd already know how to fix it. He was a beautiful mind. And I am just extremely distraught that he's gone. There are just no words, and I feel so bad for his daughter, for his family, for Sharon, um, everybody that was in daily. I talked to him weekly for 20 years, but there are people who are even closer to him than that. So um just want to say bye to him and say, Paul, you helped me out more than I could ever repay, and that's what I'm going to do in your honor, is to try to help disseminate what you taught me, and helping others, because that's the only way I can pay you back at this point. So I'm just and there, he's always teaching. He's always it was just one. He's just so wonderful, so wonderful.
He was more than that, man. That guy. I mean, I wasn't. I'm not even supposed to be here. Number one, the only reason why I'm on this show right here is because Paul asked me, called me, and said, "Hey, we join the show?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely, absolutely." You know, but Paul, I wasn't supposed to do any of this. I was an aviation electrician in the Navy. I was happy. I, gosh, I knew my way. It was aviation. This is what I was doing. 9/11 happens, and somebody suckered me into cleaning carpet, man. One of my friends. We went to college together. We worked at right there on aircraft together. Within 2 weeks, I had someone bringing me rugs, and this guy said, "I got more money than you know what to do with, and I don't care. You're gonna learn. You're gonna wash my rugs. If you're 18 years old and get a plane off an aircraft carrier, you can wash my rugs." And I said, "I don't even know what to do." He said, "I got
Right.
plenty of money. I don't care. Go learn." You know,
Right.
I went to Bridgepoint back then. That's how long ago that was. And
Wow.
I said, "Hey," I said, "who do you know that can teach me how to wash rugs?" And this guy said, "Well, this guy down in Florida is pretty good. Let me call him." And then I called, and he had me call him, and I talked to him, and he said, "Man, call this guy named Paul Lucas." He didn't even tell me that he owned Kimax. Just
Right.
call this guy named Paul Lucas, and Paul, he will, he'll love to talk to you. Um, Man, I tell you what, I did. I called him up, and he's just started talking to me and telling me what to do, telling me literally how to build a wash pit in my garage. My wife loved that. Oh gosh, she loved it. Uh, I had a temporary wash pit. I hung rugs inside. Oh my gosh, it was so crazy to watch how I went from 2004 to listening to Paul. I remember we'd have parties at the house, and I built this brand new house like 2007. Now I got a 3-car garage. I'm like, all the cars are out there in the driveway. My friends would come over, they'd be partying, like, "What's going on?" Like, open up the garage. What the heck is going on here? You got a science experiment going on, you know? And and Paul, oh God, he saved me was one time this American Spirit painted rug, and it just kept bleeding. I called him. I said, "Paul, what are you talking about? I have paddled this rug so many times. I mean, I'm about 6 hours into this thing.
Right.
This is something's got to give on this, right?" And later on, when I was in Las Vegas, uh, it was rug renovations. That guy that owns that, I met him there at Connections, and I asked him. I said, "Hey," I said, the rugs that you guys brought in, the painted rugs, after 1928, did you guys just run out of mordant? Did you guys
Right.
cut corners?" And he was like, "You know what? I'm gonna check my grandfather's records and see." That guy's an old man by then, because rug renovating has been around. I think it's like
Oh,
mid
yeah.
1800s, right?
Right.
And he was like, man, you know what? He says, sure enough, he said, I can't believe you figured this out. I said, honestly, tell you the truth, it really wasn't me. It was Paul Lucas. I mean,
Hmm.
Paul was always making me see the hard rugs and see how I could take that bad opportunity and turn it to a good opportunity, by taking like rug Navajo shampoo and actually adding in these mordants that it needed
Right.
to really help set things. The guy was an absolute genius. He was a genius. He was,
Yeah.
and then I met him in 2009. Their connections, and then it ended up flourishing. Where we had classes, and I just, you know, I'm 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 honored to have met that guy. And
Yeah.
man, that dude changed my life. I mean,
Absolutely.
I love him more than I gotta love that man more than ever you could ever dream. And he knew how much I love Navajo rugs. I mean, you see this Navajo behind me, this red mesa,
Mm.
and I said, Paul, I'm scared to wash these Navajos. He's like, man, let's wash them, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he uh he just brought so much joy to my life. I really am. I'm honored to have him as a friend, as a mentor. Uh, I mean, what an exceptional guy. And
Yeah.
it's been tough for me because I can't escape Chemex. I mean, it's
Yeah.
literally at my shop all over. It's at my house. It's my laundry room. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's at my clients' houses. I mean, I give ultra dry out. You
Yeah.
know, what are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to do? It's to me, I could never let go of the guy.
Right.
It's always gonna be in my heart forever. He's an integrated piece of me. And I just I just feel lucky. I mean, then think about that for a minute, man. Like I'm not supposed to be here, and this guy ends up finding a way for me to actually earn money, uh,
Right.
and to build a life. And now that my son, he finishes college and said, "Hey, Dad, I want to come wash rugs with you." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" My son's sitting here washing rugs, and I was like, you know, I said, Paul, I cannot ever repay you back, man.
Oh yeah.
I can
That I
never
my son
pay
works
you
with
back.
me and there's nothing better. I mean, there's not I can't I I almost and it's weird. I thought I liked my job. And then my son came and worked for me and it really I like it a lot better now than I
Oh,
ever have. And Paul, uh, people talk about the antique bug. It bites you, and then you're just all into antiques, and you can't stop. There's a rug bug too, and
absolutely.
you get bit by it, and it's like I mean, I own three Navajo rugs. One of them is a whirling logs because I saw one and I had to. I mean, I just had to have it because it's the story, man. And Paul, we haven't even talked about music. Um,
Oh yeah.
he was he was enthralled, and I don't know if he ever played an instrument, and that's kind of what I tell people, that I love art and I love looking at it and I love appreciate it, and part of the reason I think I like it so much is because it doesn't come from me. um I have to someone else has to provide it for me, because I'm not an artist in any way other than a few things you could call um carpet repairs and rug repairs, a little bit of an art. Um, but I wouldn't put it up against a whole lot of, but yeah, Paul's just, he just will never ever be replaced. And one of the highest compliments I think I can give anybody is that Paul made me a better man and made me
Oh,
want to be a better man.
right. Is
Not
that not
only a
true?
cleaner, not only just a
Better
better
person.
cleaner, but yeah, a better man. Do the right thing. And Paul and I talked about a lot of different things and a lot of, and he was just always the guy that did the right thing, you
Hey,
know.
God, man, he really was. I mean, he just made you better all the way around.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, and it just I don't know, man, it breaks my heart. I mean, I called him the night before he went into surgery, and I was like, "Oh, you'll be out." And man, he was getting work on that new special thing. He was excited and we were
Yeah.
getting pumped up, and I was like, "Heck yeah, are you kidding?"
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Oh,
That sounded so good. And
he's
it's,
just
it's
he, he was an exceptional human being, and
yeah.
he touched so many lives.
Oh
Look
my
what he did to
gosh.
you, Rob. Look what he did to me. Look what he did to Scott and Miranda
Yep.
down in um,
Arizona.
Phoenix, right?
Yep.
I mean, they don't even clean carpet anymore. All they do is
Yep.
clean rugs.
Yep.
I mean, the man taught us things and made us better people. But on
Yeah.
top of that, think about how many people did he help by helping us as we're going out
Yep.
there and helping those people.
That's right.
I mean, you know, I told him a story about this one lady. She was 50 years old and she was married to this guy for like 30 years and she just didn't like the guy. The guy was a jerk. And she had the courage to actually leave the guy, and she bought this Moroccan rug and it was a cornerstone, for her new beginning,
Life. Yeah.
right? And she had this, and now she's 70 years old. She's had this for 20 years, and she just didn't know who was going to wash it, who's going to take care of it.
Right.
And she found me. You know, I drove over an hour just to go over and go pick it up. And I talked to her about it, and I could tell it was pretty meaningful to her, and I said, "Don't worry, you're in good hands."
Yeah.
And I washed that thing up, and from everything Paul taught, I mean, Moroccans sometimes can be pretty tough, you know, but his chemistry was absolutely just incredible, and
Yeah.
um, I loved using anodine, and I just watching that. I used to call Paul and be like, "My gosh, it looks like spider webs all clean. There's like all these little black squiggly lines going all over." He's like, "Yeah, it's all the different colors all coming together and to wash it off."
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is crazy. I brought that rug back to that lady, unrolled it, and she just started bawling.
Yep.
I was
I've
like,
had that reaction
and
too.
he's like, you know what? She says, you don't understand. Like, you just you made me feel so whole again. Because,
Right. And made her feel 20 years, is
oh,
when she looks at
absolutely,
that rug, she remembers 20 years ago when she stood and said, I'm going to buy this, and this is going to remind me that I'm doing the right thing here.
yeah.
You
And
know,
I said, well, I said honestly, I have just really been I've really been taught by just a chemist and a magician. I mean, the guy was
right.
incredible, right? And I called Paul and told him, I was like, man, this lady's just bawling, and she just hugging me,
Yeah.
and I was like, Paul, I said, I love washing rugs. I do. I love it.
It's
I don't know what it is. It's like finding buried treasure, but I just love it. I mean, I'll go out to look around for rugs. I'll find a rug and then I'll go back to my shop even 10 o'clock at night and wash the rug. And I'm so
yeah.
excited. And
Yeah.
I sit there and told Paul, I was like, man, I was like, dude, you really just you you brought so much joy, and now I'm not only hooked on washing the rugs, I'm hooked on the people's reaction when they
Right.
get it, when they
Right.
feel how soft it is, when they see how colorful it is, when there's no odors, there's no nothing, and I mean, it's just you should see these reactions, and it's man, it is. I don't even know what to say. It's addicting. It's
For
addicting.
me, yeah, especially for me, it was a culmination of, I started in carpet cleaning, and then I decided, well, I want to help my clients, and I see that they have, there's things that need to be repaired, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I figured out how to do it
Yeah,
and did some reading and did some classes. And then all of a sudden it was like that was the start. And then at the end of it all, I just said this analogy to a lady this morning at the shop. I said, Jimi Hendrix was an awesome guitar player, an awesome songwriter and performer. However, there is a finite amount of stuff that you can hear from him. Like, but if you go, like, say, the Grateful Dead, there are 30 years worth of people taping their shows that you can go down rabbit holes and hear shows of for instance, before you were born, probably, if you were born past 69, So, and I said, that's kind of the difference between carpet and rugs for me. Carpet, there's only so much you can know, and there's only one unsolved mystery in all of carpet, and that, of course, is pooling. So, that's it. Everything else is written down. This is a fact. This is not a fact. You know what I mean? That's it. But with rugs, um, everything, there are rules, and then there are exceptions to the rules, and then there are way off exceptions to that. And so for me, it was like this natural. I want to know more about what I do. I want to be better at what I do, and I'm still. And he made me challenge myself every day. I want to be better. My competition, it does not have another phone number. My competition is who I was yesterday, and I need to be better than that today. And that's a lot of what Paul taught me right there.
Yeah. He just he's an incredible man, and I wish all the success for Kim X in the future, because their success is our success.
That's right. That's
And
exactly right.
and he just I just think, in a way, you know, I think, Rob, I think that we just got so lucky. We got
Yeah.
so lucky to be graced by somebody during that moment, during that period. I mean, like, it really amped up, when you started the Pro Cleaners Network. You had the little shows back in 2009, and we
Yeah.
just kept on going and kept on going with it.
Yeah.
It was just, honestly, like, the people who stuck with it. I mean, we're we're blessed because of it.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
honestly, I thank you
My,
too. I thank Nate. I even thank Cam for having the classes. You
yeah.
know, there's a lot of people who I thank. Uh, dude, I tell you what, I'll just never forget Paul. I I'll never forget him, and I'll honor him for forever. He told me, he
Yeah.
said, Brian, he says, there's one thing. If anything ever does happen, just don't let everybody just forget who I am.
Right.
I was like, dude, I will never let someone forget who you are.
No, all I've got to do is pull off of my drive, and I can sit and listen to him for hours.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure other people can do that too. That's part of what I think he would have wanted to do, is to keep helping people even after he's gone. We
Yeah.
have his words, and we have the situation. So what I'm well, I don't know. I've got some plans that I'm going to try to put some of that together, but I may have to farm out the work because I just don't know if I have the time to do it. But I have
Yeah.
some ideas of some things that would be helpful for people, and put some of the things that he's said together categorically and stuff. So, but
Absolutely.
yeah, Paul, our final goodbye, and it's a damn shame, but everybody feels blessed to have known you, and blessed to have been affected by you so much, because you really did take people by the shirt collar and make them, you didn't. He wasn't a mild person, was he,
Oh.
Brian?
Hey, remember that somebody posted that, I think, in one of the rooms, with that rug that we torched. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Remember,
yeah.
he told me, hey, do you care if we light your rug on fire? And I was like, what? He was like, man, come on, man. He's like, this would be great. I'm gonna go get a blowtorch. And I thought he was just kidding. I had no idea.
I'm the I'm the one who went and bought it.
Did you
Like,
really?
he told me, he's like, go here, get this, get a bottle of propane.
Oh
you know.
gosh, that was so great. That was so
And
great.
that rug looked so good afterwards. I still talk about that experience. This week I was in somebody's house, or this last week, from Tuesday to Tuesday or whatever. I was in somebody's house and talked about how almost every rug that an owner would have has been kissed by a blowtorch. And I
Yeah,
said, most people never know it, but I said, you got to remember that, plastic melts, but wool burns.
yeah,
And so you take those, and then you wash it it shows you what was underneath is beautiful.
Yep, yep. When
Beautiful
that rug
thing.
came out,
Yeah.
it was so soft. It was crazy. I still have it today. I
I've
mean,
got I've got a video of us doing that, I think,
that's
somewhere. I
awesome.
mean, I'd really have to look for, I've got so much. I mean, I've got stuff from him in Pittsburgh with Wade.
Yeah,
I've just got I've got a staggering amount of information from Paul Lucas. Like I'm not even sure how I'm going to be able to categorize it or make it available, but I
we'll
feel
figure it
like
out
that's
one
something
day.
that, yeah, I mean, it's something that I think I need to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we'll figure it out
um,
one day. I know you're out there, Paul, and I just thank you. I
you
really,
bet.
I
Yeah.
thank you, and I love you, and never not, I'll never not promote you. I'll never not promote Kim Max. I, you, you're. I don't even know how to repay you back. I really don't. So
It's pay it forward is the only thing that we can do is take what he's taught us and help others that want to learn.
it's very true.
That's all I see, you know what I mean? And I never thought I had, I'd have to say this as a final thing, but to say goodbye,
You
and
know what?
that's rough.
That really is probably the most special honor in the world. Really is to share his knowledge with other people.
Yeah.
I never really kind of thought like that. You know,
Yep.
it really is. The guy was the most special, incredible, loving dude ever. You
I
know,
don't I don't know if you knew this, but I'm going to tell you this. We did the rug show on Wednesday. I mean, back in the PCN days, all the way up until 3 or 4 months, whatever ago, a year, 6 months, whatever it was.
yeah.
And do you know that when I talked to him and we were putting the Rug Lounge show together, um, I said, "Do you want to do it on Wednesdays?" He said, "Actually, Wednesdays are bad for me." And I thought about that for a minute and I was like, that Paul leveraged something that he really wanted to do with something that he felt that he really needed to do, which was teach us all.
Yeah,
And so I think he gave up a lot of time in his life um, pursuing knowledge for our sake.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't see anybody else doing that.
That's what I'm saying. And he was a special guy.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah. And very, very happy and gifted to know him for sure. And to be able to call him a friend and a mentor is something, and say that we stood side by side, you know what I
Shit.
mean? And enjoyed rugs together. There's no higher honor to me for sure. For sure.
Yep.
So bye, Paul. We love you so much. Um, and we are going to do everything that we can, the two of us and a few select other people that are in on this. So we're going to make sure that your name never, ever goes away from a
What?
rug cleaner's tongue. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Paul, we love you. And I'm going to go ahead and end the show. We'll be back here next week doing what Paul loved to do and what I love to do with Paul. Teaching and helping people understand things is just what we were made to do. And I'm going to carry it on, and Brian's going to carry it on. Nate's going to be here again one of these days, and he'll carry it on with us as well. So
Yep.
goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Brian,
See
tell
ya.
him bye.
We'll see everybody. Bye. And just, yeah, Paul, man, thank you.
You're the best. Yep.
Thank you.
The best that ever was. I never met anybody I think I could say that about more than him.
Yeah.
No
All
doubt
right.
about it.
Until next show, we'll see you.
See you next show. Bye bye.